Bitcoin is setting up an epic failure here, and in today's video, we'll be going over what that means for price and when to essentially expect that as well in terms of timing. Before we get into that, I should let you know that we're actually starting our New Year sale for all of the New Year's resolutioners. Today, we'll be running it for a week. The code is 2025, literally just the numbers 2025, and that will award you 20% off of any one of the programs or services in the Teachable link in the description below. Quant Prime service actually going to be 25% off, which allows you to create, test, and automate your trades, and that discount will actually be applied to the lifetime of your subscription. And a couple of big, massive upgrades coming to the Quant Prime and Trade Like a Quant service. In fact, actually, the Quant Prime service, it is already in beta form there. I'll release a very short video later today kind of explaining it, but some really, really cool things coming, which I'm quite excited about and working on in the background here. All right, sweet. So let's get into the actual Bitcoin charts. And what is this failure that we're talking about? Well, Bitcoin put in a head and shoulders formation, which was essentially confirmed as a potential formation with that $100,000 rejective high right here in late December. Now, of course, a head and shoulders is typically a bearish reversal formation, but as we said on this channel, this one's ripe for failure. Now, I did kind of expect it to go a little bit lower here, to be fair, to actually like really fake it out, but looks like it is not going to be doing that. And more importantly, it is very, 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 very close to confirming the failure here. And the failure for a head and shoulders is actually just as useful as a success, I suppose, because we can do an implied target for this upon confirmation. So we'll go over confirmation in a moment, but the implied target would essentially be the same target, except just applied to the right shoulder, and that would be pointed up for CME here, 119 to 120,000 bucks. Very interesting. Now, how would you confirm that this pattern has indeed failed and the upside target is legitimate? Well, we need to see Bitcoin close above that right shoulder again. For CME, that is exactly 101,435. If you do see a daily closure above there, failure is confirmed and upside is imminent. And as we've been saying on this channel for the past week or two now, you know, Bitcoin very likely to see at minimum 114,000 bucks before the end of February. So I do look at this as kind of playing hand in hand with that. On top of that, we have a meta signal setup firing off over here. This is a kind of a new one, as it is a continuation signal, which you don't really get too often. But I do see that this is coming from a 4-hour time frame, and it did fire off right recently at around 99,000 bucks even. And first target would be 100,345. Second target would be 103,000, and target number 3 would be 105,844 and 54 cents, by the way. Of course, these have varying degrees of probability to actually be hit. Target 1 for December was actually, I believe, about 64, 65%, somewhere around there. In the past, it's been a little bit higher, closer to 70%. Target 2 close to about 50%, and target 3 close to about 30%. So, do keep your eye on that. Of course, you are looking at meta signals, and you want to use this service. You can check it out for free in the link in the description below. And again, meta signals, having these setups kind of just fired off to you. Well, it's like having bumper rails in bowling. it keeps you on track. You won't be getting wrecked because it gives you, perspective, areas of interest for a stop loss, and then of course probabilistic setups for ups, in this case, upside targets. All right. Now that we've gotten through that, I need to make sure I'm right in my notes here. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So here's the thing. Until Bitcoin does confirm this as a failure, again, which means that we must see a close above 101,435 on CME, there is potential for another pullback here. I know it sounds crazy. I know I've been saying this for like the past few days now, but it is going to bother me until Bitcoin actually does confirm a failure. I do think it's not that I do think it is a potential to happen. And if it does happen, Bitcoin could easily reject right here, come back down, maybe set in a higher low somewhere around 95 to 96,000 bucks. So if that did happen, I'd still look at that as an opportunity. I do think that this one will resolve to the upside. It's more or less a question of when, I suppose. Anyways, moving on from there, I do want to get into a few more tangible signals here. First, actually just barely, or let me go over here. First, we can see on the 2-day time frame. There is hidden bullish evidence that was confirmed on the 2-day RSI, and we are potentially going to see that 2-day RSI reclaim the moving average on this as well. Why is that significant? Well, because we can actually create a setup from that, which I've done over here. So this is a super fucking simple, super simple setup. I did post something a little bit, a little bit more optimized in the Quant Prime library for the people who are using that. But of course, even this in its current form, you can, with a little bit of brain power, optimize this significantly. But this, again, super fucking simple setup right here. Anytime that Bitcoin on the 2-day time frame closes the RSI above the moving average, this exponential right here, open a long. When Bitcoin closes below, when the RSI closes below the moving average, close that long. And if you would have done that throughout the full history of Bitcoin, you would have had these results. You would have been successful about 35.5% of the time, but a very high profit factor, as you can see. When we go into the performance summary right here, we can see the average winning trade returned 40%. I'm sure that's because of like the early massive winners. And the average losing trade lost an average of 4%. So let me actually go into the deep backtester here. I want to get more, I guess modern results, let's say. So I'm going to test that period from 2015 to, let's actually go exactly current as well. Let me just generate this report. We'll wait. And of course, this is using, by the way, the Quant Prime service that I was alluding to earlier. But into the actual data, we do see that the average winning trade, goes down significantly. I thought that looked a little bit exaggerated. And the average winning trade did return about 21.5%, and the average losing trade losing about 3.66% or 3.5% almost. Now, also of interest here, when we did see a winning trade, on average it took 12 bars. When we did see a losing trade, typically got closed very quickly with only 3 bars until confirming the loss. So in this case, the RSI has technically not crossed above the exponential moving average on a closing base just yet. It will, as we can backwards forecast from Caretaker's RSI, cross above the EMA signal line above with the daily closure above 99,600, which Bitcoin is trading very close to right now. So that could be confirmed today. If that does get confirmed, I look at this setup, I look at this setup over here, and I look at the whole picture and I say, okay, continuation before any sort of a pullback. Until that happens, however, I do think that there is a potential for a pullback, but it is, there are more things shaping up towards, upside continuation. Of course, this does have, a relatively low strike rate. If we actually look at just this period, it's a little bit under 34%. But going off of the projected targets, well, if it does work out, we would expect somewhere around about 20% from that entry. So let's just assume that entry would be kind of around here. What would 20% look like on top of current price action if it were to fire off, which could fire off as soon as tonight again? 20% up from there puts Bitcoin where? Oh, that's rather interesting. 119,000. Didn't we just see that as a potential target for the confirmation of the inverted head and shoulders failure over here? Yes, indeed. And again, if that does play out, we'd expect from the time of confirmation of that setup, which could happen tonight, 12 bars, and this is a 2-day time frame. So 12 times 2 is what? 24. So it's about 3.5 weeks. So yeah, rather interesting right there. Or that was interesting. What do you think? I think that was also interesting. Anyways, my point is that, if you do see all these things kind of happening together, I think that massively increases the likelihood that Bitcoin just, puts in a fucking Bitcoin-esque move from this region. On top of that, when we go over here to stochastic momentum, we can see the daily time frame for CME has gone for the full reset, is now pointed up and will be remaining with upside momentum as long as Bitcoin is above 95,250, which right now trading almost 5,000, or actually more than $5,000 above that pivot. Nice, not bad. The 2-day time frame is going to have a chance to turn up today. If Bitcoin were to close above 101,400, again, that's by the end of the, or sorry, actually, that's not today. That would be tomorrow. it will turn up if that pivot is met. And the 3-day time frame is also going to be turning up above 104, but that one is going to update tonight. So I'd be very interested to see where this one is tomorrow. If it does upon the new open, if the momentum pivot upon that new open comes down a lot, let's say closer to 100,000. Again, another good sign that Bitcoin probably does just do a fucking Bitcoin move from here, I guess. But as I'll continue to say, until Bitcoin really does reclaim this high right here, again, that right shoulder just above just above. Hey, whoops, I'm on the wrong one. Just above exactly 101,435. There is potential for another pullback here. Potential doesn't mean certainty, obviously, but it does mean potential. Anyways, last we'll end on this, actually. A couple more things over here. We can see that the weekly HPDR did open below the median after the last week had a heroic reclaim of it before that closure. So looking at this right here, it is going to be an area of interest, for this time frame, the weekly, which is 101, about 101, 102,000. Yeah, 102,000 bucks. If Bitcoin does close this week above there, I mean, you're very likely going to see at least a try around the 38.2 level. That gets you to about 116,000. Maybe it even extends up here. But of course, it's a long week left to go. Other than that, I'd like to just do a quick update on the quantum wave bands. I know a lot of people have been interested in this. If you're a scalping type of trader looking for, well, kind of like a done-for-you strategy, to be honest, this could be a good do. You can see it's actually had some pretty decent scalps over here. Hasn't traded exactly perfectly, but again, it is a scalping tool. It's not for trending trades. Actually, we are working on trending trades to go alongside with this, but similar to meta signals, it keeps you on track. And these have been the results over the past couple years here for the hourly time frame. Not bad. Anyways. Actually, should I say one last thing? Okay, yeah, one last thing. Okay, we're only 12 minutes into this. I did want to revisit these statistics over here because we do expect that January lows, if the month is going to close positively, come very early on within the month. For all of the positive closing Januaries, of which there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we can see that the low was put in on average around the end of the first week of January. Again, that's if it's a positive closing month. 2014 and 2024 were the only times that we saw it come later than the fourth day of January. So this average is being massively pulled up by those two reads. So, again, it doesn't mean that it's impossible, but it does mean it's rather unlikely if Bitcoin is going to close green that we see it continue essentially from here and that the lows are already in. Again, it's only been 2 times that we've seen the low come in after the 4th day of January. Again, if it's going to be green, obviously if it's going to be red, that comes in significantly later, like after the 3rd week. So that'd be rather concerning, but yeah. That would kind of strengthen the case that I'm pondering over here, that if Bitcoin does have a pullback, it's very unlikely to be a new low. It's very likely to be a higher low. But a higher low could come in theoretically around 95,000 bucks, and that'd be fine. Anyways, that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this video. Like I said, I'll upload a video a little bit later going over the new upgrades for the Quant Prime and one that is coming for the Trade Like a Quant service. I'm really fucking excited about it. I've been working on it for a little bit of time now, and it's good. Like it's fucking good. Anyways, that's where we'll end things. As always, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.